Hello, good morning, Edward.
Good morning. Sorry for the technical difficulties this morning. Hope that didn't mess you up.
Oh, it's absolutely all right. And I got the reason of the confusion. It's probably the difference between Eastern and Western time. So, yeah, we're good here. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification.
Yep, I was on Central Time when you called, and my phone put it in Central, but I go in Eastern. When I came back home, I didn't notice that it had switched it from 11 a.m. to noon Eastern. So I apologize. I'm normally scheduling events when I'm home, not when I'm on the road. I do events when I'm on the road, but I'm usually scheduling them, and I don't normally change time zones as frequently as some people do. So I had to go to Plan B. So hopefully, splitting the difference here between 11 a.m. and noon Eastern will work for your viewers.
I hope so too, and we are looking forward to a valuable, talk here, talking all about strategy. And to begin with, I'll introduce myself. My name is Angad, and I'm an entrepreneur, and I mentor millennials, and I am on a mission to empower millennials to create a life that they love and live a life that they truly desire. Create that. And inside of that, I am kind of creating this model called the Millennial Maestro model. And we will talk more about that during the talk. And now I'll invite you to maybe say two words about yourself because your bio says you're a creative strategist, a nonprofit leader, a writer, speaker, artist representative, retired attorney, banker, and a magician.
Correct. So now I went from being a professional magician in the entertainment field to a business magician in the entrepreneurial field. I basically apply the education, training, and experience I gained over 40 years as a journalist, a lawyer, professional magician,
Mm-hmm.
public relations specialist, marketer, to helping small business and nonprofits think outside the box to help them solve problems using strategy, marketing, and communications.
Wow, that's quite a journey, Edward. This is, how did you, transition? How was it for you? How did you end up here?
I consider all of life to be a learning experience, and so I have been on a journey. I've read a lot of books over my 59 years on the planet. I have two kids that are both millennials, so I can relate to your experience as a mentor for millennials. I'm on a mentoring council in our local community, and I'm an ambassador for our local business chamber of commerce. And I run two nonprofits as the chairman of their boards and have been involved in a number of others. Over the years, my life has taken me through various interests. I guess I have a short attention span, or at least some people say, but I put 100% of my effort into doing whatever I'm doing. And I used to think I was great at multitasking, and I realized I'm actually a very fast serial tasker. I do one thing, move on to something. There's a difference. It's
Yep.
difficult to do more than one thing well at a time, but you can
Mm-hmm.
focus on one thing at a time, do it well, and move quickly to doing something else. So the way I accomplish that is I use the calendar for my iPhone. It's kind of ironic that the calendar issue of iPhone caused this issue because I had not used the default versus traveling calendar very often. And in this
Mm-hmm.
particular case, had I used my old-fashioned manual calendar and written it down, I would have been
Yep.
on there at 11 a.m. But because I entered it in an iPhone, that
Mm-hmm.
changed time based on the time zone that I was traveling in, and then back to my regular time, it
Mm-hmm.
ended up with a problem in terms of our being on the same time frame. So the path is basically I follow where I follow two things. I happen to be religious and I follow religious principles, but I also have studied economics and business principles. There was a principle of business called the invisible hand theory on the economy. I believe
Mm-hmm.
that that same principle exists in religious or spiritual life. I believe God has a plan for all of us. And so when
Mm-hmm.
people ask me how would I best describe my life, I would say guided drift. Be one with
Mm-hmm.
the river. Allow the river to take you where you're supposed to be. Allow God or your creator or whatever your spiritual guide is, higher power, to take you where you're meant to be. The key
Mm-hmm.
is attention. And so for me, discernment is really important, and paying attention to the signs. And sometimes you kind of have to get knocked over the head to realize you should be doing something else. So I try to pay attention to what goes on around me.
Wow, that is so interesting. This is something that I myself am kind of, experiencing right now. What you talk about, following the signs that God or the universe or the superpower is kind of giving you and getting the signs and kind of taking action based on those signs.
Exactly. Well, that's good. That's why I think we connected here with a similar purpose and wanting to help others. I used to say when I was a professional magician, I'm a professional magician. My wife works, but I'm bummed. My wife still works. She has a full-time job with an insurance company with benefits, so I have not
Mm,
had to worry about having the health benefits that most self-employed people have to worry about or pay out of pocket for, because we're covered under her family plan, which has been a significant advantage. She's had a steady
mm,
job for 25 years, which has allowed me to be an entrepreneur, start different
mm,
businesses, take time off, quit practicing law, start a new business, spend a lot of time helping to teach and train my kids. Both of them played multiple sports. My daughter played 5 in high school, 2 in college, and 1 internationally. My son played 3 in middle school and ran track and cross country in high school and sang in 5 different musical ensembles. So both of them were very gifted, talented, and hardworking, and they're both doing well. And so I feel like I have accomplished the most significant thing that I was meant to do in life, which is to bring up 2 children and launch them into the world. And now, if you love something, set it free. If they come back to you, they're yours. And if they don't, it was never meant to be. So I have launched my kids, given them the platform to spring forth and be successful on their own, but I'm not going to micromanage their lives. So I have a good relationship with both of my kids, and it's an adult relationship where it's mutual respect and trusting them to make decisions well based upon what they have learned. And they know that they always have me to call at any time, day or night, if they need some guidance.
wow, wow, that is, this kind of a relationship where your kids are actually, like you said, national level or international level sports players, and then based on that, what is the kind of teachings that you would kind of give to millennials? Like, what would be the, the 2 or 3 things that you would want to share with millennials today, given that they have a short attention span,
Right.
given that the kind of opportunity in 2020 is huge. At the same time, the confusion is huge with the kind of information overdose that we are experiencing on social media and on various platforms. It's so much. So, how to really focus, strategize,
Right.
and do what you want to do. So, what would you like to say about that?
Couple of things. Number one is have a plan. People don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. So examine your life, do an inventory. I recommend the old fashioned way. Get out a yellow tablet or piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, and
Mm-hmm.
list your likes and dislikes. Find
Mm-hmm.
out what you're interested in, and then find out where you can have a life. Now, the key here is I did say a life, not a job, because I think millennials have figured out something that the baby boom generation didn't necessarily figure out, which is that purpose is important, but so is meaning. And I've read a lot of books I mentioned earlier. 5 books I recommend for anybody listening to this right now that have helped me to get to where I am. Whatever your religious texts are, because I think any religious background will give you a set of values to live by that you can also learn at
Mm-hmm.
home, you can learn at school. But whether it's the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, or any other religious text, having a value system is important. Number 2, so having that as a basis, make a plan, and then follow your passion. There's a book years ago that I read that was called Do What You Love and the Money Will Follow. If you do something you hate and you make a lot of money and you're miserable all the time, what have you really gained? I encourage people to follow their passions and to find where the match is of what they're good at and what they enjoy and where they can make money. But another book I recommend is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor
Mm-hmm.
Frankl, who was a
Mm-hmm.
concentration camp survivor who wrote about the experience of being in a concentration camp. A
Mm-hmm.
lesson from that book is you can endure anything if you only have to endure it for a short period of time. So
Mm-hmm.
the old joke is, how do you get the elephant out of the room? One bite at a time.
Yeah.
And that's true of any skill
Awesome.
you have. Break it down into manageable parts. If you have to do a huge project that's going to 300 pages, you can't write
Mm-hmm.
300 pages in one night. Break it down into manageable portions, budget your time, use technology to make it easier and more efficient, use your calendar, your phone to schedule time. And I recommend getting up early and tackling the hardest thing first, the most difficult thing first. Most people
Mm-hmm.
default to doing what's easiest first, and then they're
Mm-hmm.
tired when they have to do something hard and they struggle. if you do what's hardest and most difficult first, when you're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in the morning, or when you
Mm-hmm.
have your peak time, because some people are night owls and they actually work better at night. So those are just a couple of strategies in terms of doing what you love. Find something that you're passionate about, and it helps to have somebody else in the family that can help do the things and provide for the family things that you may not. Being a serial entrepreneur, I've had income that has gone up and down considerably. My wife's has grown steadily over the years. That's been very helpful.
Yes, yes. Having a partner like that would have definitely had you fulfill on your dreams here. And I would absolutely agree with that because, this is one thing that is common in a lot of Instagram lives that I'm getting with the renowned people from things, the most priority things in the morning. That's point number one. The second point is you got to very rightly that you said, how do you get the elephant out of the room? One bite at a time, which is got a habit, like break down our goals in small habits which happen every day. For example, I'm writing a book, so
Right.
maybe write, even if I write 5 pages a day, at the end of the year I have 1,500 pages, so that's like more than 3 or 4 books here that we're talking about. But it's the perseverance and the consistency, doing it every day.
Many people quit just before they become successful because of the struggle. And persistence is really important. And for example, I've been thin most of my life, but as I got older and more sedentary sitting behind a desk, I gained some weight. I was 122 and a half pounds as a sophomore in college when I boxed in the boxing tournament. I was 182 pounds in 2000 when my father was dying of cancer. 3 months ago, I was 172 pounds, and none of my old clothes fit, and I felt like I had a beer gut or something from whatever I was eating. And my daughter, because of the pandemic, was home for 7 or 8 weeks with us, and she is really healthy. Played a lot of sports, is a certified yoga instructor,
Hmm.
follows a lot of the yogi mindset in terms of consciousness and taking care of herself. So
Hmm.
I asked if she would cook for my wife and me and herself, and I would eat whatever she cooked. Totally changed my life. At age 59 and a half, I am the healthiest I have been in 30 years because
Wow.
I am eating fresh fruit and vegetables, which I never used to like eating, and now I love them. I'm eating fish a couple times,
Awesome.
less chicken, very little meat, cut out sugar, cut out bread, cut out
Hmm.
desserts, but I still drink wine with my dinner, 1 glass of wine. I'll still have a beer at night if I want to. Some nights I do, some nights I don't. So I had an expression that I've said for years, everything in moderation, even excess. It's okay to have a piece of cake. It's okay to have two
Hmm.
beers once in a while. Just don't do it every night and expect you're going to be clear of mind and energetic the following morning if you have two or you have three or you have four drinks or whatever. So my thought is to find a balance, and that leads me to another book that I recommend. It's called Life Balance by
Hmm.
Linda and Richard Eyre, Eyre, published in the United States by a married couple, and they talk about 5 major areas. So I would recommend this for everyone listening and watching this Instagram live with you. This is about mentoring. So I want to share with you something that has worked for me and I think
Hmm.
can work for everyone. There are 5 major areas that this couple identified in life: the spiritual, religious, contemplative, meditative, whatever you want to call it, that peaceful side, that religious side, that spiritual or Zen moment or
Hmm.
moment in your life. Number 2 is your family. That's your
Okay.
immediate extended family, your friends. That
Hmm.
can be part of a family as well. Number 3 is your physical, your health, recreation, fitness,
Hmm.
anything in terms of the body and the mind. Fourth is leisure, recreation, entertainment, whether it's playing
Hmm.
sports, watching sports, going to plays, being in plays. And then last but not least is your work, your employment, your vocation, your avocation. And
Hmm.
I would suggest that if you were to ask someone to draw a line down that yellow piece of paper again, on the left-hand side, list the priorities in that order. And on the right-hand side, just go through any day or any week or any month in their calendar and
Hmm.
list the percentage of time or the hours spent in each of those endeavors. You will discover that most people who are happy, there is a method and a match of where they believe is important with how they spend their life, and the
Hmm.
ones that are most unhappy and most unhealthy, there is a mismatch. Prime example is the doctor who recommends quitting smoking who smokes 2 packs a day. The person who says my family is most important to me, who works 80 hours a week. The person who said my kids really matter to me and they miss their school plays or their sporting events. The people who said being healthy is really important to me while they're out shooting up, snorting, doing drugs, drinking a fifth of alcohol or something like that. And a person who says that my job is really important to me, who spends 3/4 of their time on the golf course or in a bar and not working on what's most important. So that is what I would say. If I were to recommend any Bible, any book, the Bible or your religious text is one, The Road Less Traveled is two, Man's Search for Meaning is three, and Life Balance is four, and then the other one would be the Celestine Prophecy. Those are the 5 books that I think. Now, there's books on success, Napoleon Hill's Laws of Success, Think and Grow Rich, Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Those are all great. But the 5 I mentioned, I think had a greater impact on my life than those, because that's totally related to business or financial success. And that's only one component of the 5 areas of life that I've mentioned.
Yeah. And today what we are being kind of conditioned to is the 5 areas. We are conditioned to just one area, which is the 5th category that you said. You could
Right.
maybe call it the financial or the career with
Right.
respect to that. So that's how we are measuring success
It's
today.
driven by money, an external factor of evaluation, and keeping up with the Joneses or the Singhs or whatever the case may be. And when you focus on the internal, what motivates you from in here,
Mhm.
and focus on being happy and balanced, I think you can achieve a lot more.
Awesome. So would you like to share what is it that motivates you to thrive in so many different areas and all that you're doing?
I will. That balance is what drives me, finding the right balance. And for me, the focus, if you were to go to my Instagram and check through my Instagram feed or go through my Facebook over a period of a month, and you would list the categories of things I post about, you'll see that youth, education, sports, family, spirituality, health, business, community are probably the 7 or 8 areas. I spend a considerable amount of my time as chairman of 2 youth nonprofit boards. I'm a there's an organization called DMOLAY, DE-MOLAY. It's an international organization for boys 12 to 21 that takes good young men and builds future leaders. I've been involved since I was 14 years old. I'm now chairman of the advisory council of our local chapter, and they're in many countries all over the world. I'd have to look to see if there are any in India, but I know there are in Asia. I'm not sure off the top of my head which countries. And I know there's in Australia, but not New Zealand, for example. And I spent a lot of time with the Malay. I founded a youth initiative for kids in just the city of Allentown, which is where I live. It's a city of about 120,000 people. And we have a significant poverty rate here for our families and not enough resources being spent on helping them. So I created the foundation, or the initiative, which is now a nonprofit corporation of which I chair, to help provide information, resources, and tools to youth and their families. I was going to say youth and their parents, but not all kids have parents at home. Some may have a single parent, a single mom, single dad. Some may have no parent in the home. Here in the United States, it's very common in our urban areas. So I said families, whatever that family unit is for that kid, we want to help them both. And it starts with providing information, resources, and tools. Much like you're doing with this Instagram Live. You're providing access to your viewers, the opportunity to learn from people in other parts of the world. I strongly encourage millennials and baby boomers, whatever age you are, to travel, see the world. St. Francis of Assisi once said, "Seek first to understand rather than to be understood." The only way you can understand other people, other cultures, other mindsets and paradigms is to go out there and listen. You learn more by listening than by speaking. So I try to listen and take information in. I try to read. I'm a news junkie and information junkie, but then I process that information and take opportunities like this to share some of what I've learned, so someone may not have to read Life Balance to know that the 5 areas of their life are the ones that I said they are. Now they've heard that. They want to read the book, great. If they don't, they can go immediately after they get off of this Instagram Live, and they can go and they can write down those things on their tablet or their notepad, and they can evaluate their life, and they can vow to change it today. So I mentioned eating healthier. I lost 10 pounds with just the change of lifestyle that my daughter gave to me. And then I signed up for an app called Noom, Noom. It's a weight
Hmm.
loss app, but it uses psychology tips. You log your weight every morning, you log your meals every day, and it
Hmm.
gives you interactive tips from coaches, psychological tips. I also did the optional, got the meal plan and the exercise plan, which I haven't even really had to use much because I'm just
Hmm.
following along and following what my daughter taught me. More fresh fruits and vegetables. Portion control is huge. Eliminating sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and food additives, so eat healthy and natural. So using that app and what I learned from my daughter, I have been able to change my life. If you can do something for 21 days, that's where that persistence pays off. You can
Yep.
take a habit and make a new habit. The only way to break a bad habit is to replace it with a good habit. I have
Yep.
replaced bad eating habits with good eating habits, and I've managed to stay
Hmm.
under my goal weight for a month after 3 months, 3 months of getting there.
Yes,
So,
and the idea, I'm sorry to interrupt you, the idea of getting, fit, or for example, getting to that dream, weight or that physical body that I want is definitely, 80% is your diet and 20% is exercise. You do that every day.
right,
And secondly, what you said about replacing a bad habit with a good habit. So I recently did that. I have a sweet tooth. Okay, I love desserts. I love ice creams. I love chocolates. So I said to myself 3 months back that every time I have a craving for maybe an ice cream or some dessert, I'll replace it with a fruit instead.
exactly.
So now my mind is conditioned that whenever I feel like something sweet, I'll go grab an apple or I'll go grab a banana maybe or, just crave that sweet tooth. At the same time, turn a bad habit into a good habit. It's not really a bad habit, but it was bothering me with my. So I play tennis. I'm also an athlete and I play professional tennis in India. So
Awesome.
it was definitely, carrying around that 1 or 2 kg of weight around the court extra definitely has an impact on the game.
Absolutely.
So yeah, this really helped here, replacing a bad habit with a good habit. And these are the kind of strategies I think that are out there, and it's simple, but it's not easy. It's simple in the sense that the idea and the solution is simple, but going through it for those 21 days every day
Right.
religiously and taking that focused, intelligent action is not easy.
Correct. But the key is have a plan and follow
Yeah.
the plan. So I recommend having dream boards or
Hmm.
just a picture. People create the whole dream board, cut out of magazines, all the things you want your life to look like and you want to be, post it on a poster board and post it somewhere
Yeah.
visible. If there's one thing
Yeah.
you want, anything, post a picture.
That's my dream board in the back, if you can
Yep.
see.
Post it on your
Uh,
picture, what you
uh,
want, whether it's a car, a relationship, a
Called
job,
vision board.
a home,
Yeah.
a vacation. Put it on so you see it every day. First thing you get up in the
Every
morning,
day.
that will inspire you.
In fact, that is also one of the modules in the workshops that I facilitate for millennials, where we have a 6-hour module, which we call the Vision Board Masterclass,
Right,
where we are creating kind of the vision boards, and I invite them to bring out magazines and I invite them to bring out different cuttings of whatever they would like their life to look like. And
right,
I have so far identified 10 such areas. So the 5 areas that you mentioned in the book written, I have
right,
kind of also broken them further down. For example, in education, in spirituality, in intellectual life, the kind of character traits
right.
they would like to build, the kind of career they would like to have, the kind of money they would like to have, the kind of materialistic things they would like to have. Just break it down,
Exactly.
get it out in a magazine, and then you could practice with affirmations,
Hmm.
and there's all sorts of I would say science attached to it, which
Yep,
worked for me. So I only share what worked for me.
right. And the key is to do it in the bits that are manageable, and
Yeah.
also another strategy that I think is really important is to prioritize. Time management is the reason my daughter graduated as the um, class president and Phi Beta Kappa in college and was able to play 5 sports in high school and graduate with an unweighted 4.0 and like a 4.7 something weighted GPA, taking honors and AP courses. And while my son was able to maintain high grades and participate in 5 different vocal groups, they managed their time well. And the thing I learned as a young attorney back in 1985 when I was first admitted to the bar here in the United States was time and projects can be divided into 4 quadrants. And this is pretty simple, but A, B, C, D. A is important and urgent. B is important but not urgent. C is unimportant but urgent. And D is unimportant and non-urgent. So that's a quadrant of 4. Take a big X and X out the 4th quadrant, because if it's unimportant and it's unurgent, you don't need it in your decision making. Throw it away. Second part of it is touch pieces of paper once. So if you get mail and you think it's junk mail, don't set it down for now. I tell my wife all the time, you set something down for now, it becomes forever. Take what you need from it, use it, file it, or throw it away. Now it's gone. Out of your view, out of your pile. You don't end up with a stack of stuff that you then have to look at again and say, was this important? Should I look at this? Category A is the most important because it's time sensitive. When your house is on fire, you don't care about whether there's water running in the basement. The fire needs to be taken care of. But if it's a very small fire and it's urgent, you take care of that and then say, what's most important next? You know, first thing is get the kids out, the family out of the house before you even try to put out the fire. Call the fire department because they're trained professionals. So that prioritizing of what's important and what's urgent is really important. And anything that's urgent, anything that's important but not urgent needs to be scheduled. So again, when it like this, put it on a calendar, get it on the schedule, confirm it, and make sure that you've got the right time, which I thought we had done because I even confirmed the time with you and I said 11 o'clock Eastern. And then when I put it in my phone, that's all the time I always put in. It's in Eastern. But my iPhone, there's a little entry on there where you can change it so that it puts it in the time zone you're in versus your default. And I had done that when I was traveling to New Zealand because I was 5 days in New Zealand to visit my daughter who was working at a golf club there. And I didn't want to be thinking, because that's 13 hours ahead or something like 18 hours ahead. So whatever you are, you were at 8:30 now, 9 o'clock at night over there. It's just around noon here. So that was real important that I be on the time that I'm on there. So I changed the setting in my iPhone when I was away. And I apparently got to change it when I got back. So when I was in Central Time, when we scheduled this live, I didn't realize it was going to change it to noon Eastern Time. So having a strategy and having a plan B, I know that now. So I'm going to pay very close attention to it so I don't make the same mistake twice and inconvenience you or your viewers.
Yes, and you know, one of my mentors very well said that whatever gets scheduled gets done.
Correct.
So you know, it's like whatever comes across, we comes across so many things, and you put it in those 4 quadrants. That's very rightly said. So you do that every day in the morning, or what does it look like?
Projects, I keep a to-do list, what I call a work in progress list. I started this when I was a young attorney. I had 150 active litigation cases at one time. There's only one way to keep track of them. You have to write it down. Back in that time, I was in my 20s, and I could remember virtually anything. I had a memory like an elephant. I never forgot. I could remember names, dates, places, and details of 150 accident cases and regurgitate them at will. I'm 59.
You were like Mike of Suits.
Yeah, exactly. I had it wasn't completely eidetic memory, but it was pretty darn good, nearly photographic for some details. I'm 59. My file cabinet in my brain is full. So now I need to write things down and put it in the same place. Again, something I stress, have a system for everything. I know I'm going to sound more retentive, very OCD. I have OCD characteristics, but that's what makes me organized and successful. It's when it becomes bad where you're checking the lock on your car 16 times that's a problem. But to check twice is not that bad. So I recommend having a system. So put something like your glasses, your keys, your wallet in the same place every day. Don't just throw them down in the first place that's convenient, because then you might not remember when you get busy where you put them. So doing things in a systematic fashion is really important. So having that work in progress list. I made a list, started it manually, typed it into a computer, printed it out, and I had like 1, 2, 3, 4 things that needed to be done on that case. And as I did them, I crossed them out. And once a week, I would delete them on my computer and print a new list. But not every day. That's ridiculously time. I'd start. So I'd have a work in progress list. And maybe it would be 2 weeks before I would print out a new one, because I had the one that I was manually crossing out and adding things to. But that allowed me to keep everything in order, alphabetically or
Mm.
by a file number, and it gave me a list of the tasks. And then every morning when I got in the office at 6:30 in the morning, first thing I did, I had my coffee and my work in progress list. I made my daily to-do list of what's important and urgent for
Mm.
that day.
So you look at the list for the month, and then you look
And
at,
it,
you take
now,
out, pick things. This is what I'm going to do today.
but it's a key is to evaluate it every day. So
Yeah, yeah.
people don't fail to plan, plan to fail, they fail to plan. So I would
Hmm.
literally my day by looking at what work I had to do and prioritizing that work for that day. My next
Hmm.
suggestion is block time. I would tell my secretary, she came in at probably like 8 or 9 o'clock, and I would say from 9 to 11, I don't want any disturbances unless it's the president of the United States or the senior partner of the law firm. I'm busy. I don't care who else it is. I don't care who they say they are. If it isn't
Hmm.
one of the people, I'm not talking to them until I'm done and get a name and number and what it's about and tell them that I will return their call promptly when I am done. That's what I call
Hmm.
block time. One of the best tools of time management that you can find. That time should be on your schedule when you are most productive. Some people it's 9
Okay.
a.m. Some people it's 6 a.m. Some people it's 10 o'clock at night. You're writing a
Hmm.
book. You might get a lot of inspiration as the day progresses and then have those aha moments in the evening and just be wired and want to write for 3 hours at night. So that's your block time. Don't
Yep.
get interrupted. Tell your family and your friends, turn off your phone, turn it to silent, and then return calls when you're done. And it doesn't have to be an entire day or a half day. I recommend an hour or two a day of block
Hmm.
time to spend on what's most important, that's most urgent, that's most difficult. And if you do those, the rest of the day is going to be easy. And I will add the corollary to that is one exception I make. And I learned
Hmm.
this from a military general. If you want to start your day with something easy, make your bed. Make your
Yep.
bed today because you will get out of bed, your bed will be made, and it will be orderly, it will be presentable, and for those who like symmetry like I do, the room will be symmetrical, and you've done something and can feel accomplishment. I know it's tiny, but it's amazing when you feel like you've done something every day. Every day you do that, you feel, I've done something. Now I can go tackle something harder. If you get out of
Hmm.
bed, you don't take a shower, you don't brush your teeth, you sit down, you go, oh, I got to write 5 pages today. You're going to feel like
Yeah.
a going to feel terrible the whole day, and it's never going to
Hmm.
get better because you started off without setting yourself up for success.
So well said. Yeah, that absolutely makes
Guys,
sense.
breakfast, do your exercise whenever works best for you. Get that mental clarity, get that block time,
Hmm.
prioritize your day, strategize your life, and do what you love, and the money will follow.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more to that. So, the time blocking is something that I personally have also started doing. Like I've been doing this, and I've been kind of refining it. So, for me, the I have a weekly time set, which is Saturdays, 12 noon, where I look at my what I accomplished this week and what is it that I accomplished, what I intend to accomplish the next week. And then besides that, I also, look at what is the time blocks here. So the time block for me is 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. However, how do you manage, or what do you have to say to millennials to, or, because the kind of distractions that we are dealing with today,
Manage
you
them.
know, so you
Manage.
wake up and there's 20 notifications on the phone. How do you deal with that?
Turn off the phone.
Mm.
Seriously. I know it's very hard to do. It's very difficult for me to do. But if I'm in a meeting, whether it's a business meeting or a one-on-one meeting, I turn my
Mm.
phone to silent mode. I don't want a phone to ring when I'm meeting with someone because I want you to
Yeah.
have undivided attention during this time. So
Hmm.
you can turn off notifications. You can also set your phone schedules, and you can put do not disturb on your phone. You can do it when
Hmm.
you're driving. So I can't get text messages when I'm driving. People, if they text me while I'm driving, my phone is set up so it automatically knows that the car is in motion, and it will send a
Hmm.
text message that I'm driving, and that if it's urgent, to call me because I have a hands-free system in my car. Now I found out I have the newest iPhone 2020 SE 2020 edition, and it syncs with my car, and I can actually read my text messages. My car will read my text messages to me. I just have to push a button, and it will read it to me out loud. And it has 5 or 6 selections that I could do what they call a quick response. So if I'm
Hmm.
stopped, I can just push a button and say thanks, or I'm driving, or I'll see you later. Those are all productivity tools. But avoiding
Yeah.
interruptions, if you can focus on a task at hand without interruptions, you'll get way more done. Let you be the guide of your time, not interruptions. Run your own
So
life. Don't let your life run you.
it's mostly a lot of time management and the productivity hacks that we have given a lot of focus here. And what exactly is the role of strategy here, or how exactly do you bring in the strategy part to this? You mentioned some simple systems to be implemented. Could you talk more about that?
Is the life balance is number one, the time management is number two, and then the individual rules that make each of the individual areas of your life successful would be number three. So for example, if in life balance I could start my week on Sunday morning, right now it's with a virtual church service. Before church I will start my day the same way I do every day, is that I get up,
Hmm.
do a little bit of stretching, I wash my face and brush my teeth, I'll go downstairs, weigh myself, have a breakfast, which I've usually set out all the ingredients for that are non-perishable the night before, so that I've already gotten ready the night before. I'll usually decide the
Wow,
night before what clothes I'm going to wear based on what I have to do. So today, because
awesome.
of the timing of this, I was planning on doing something else earlier, and I'm dressed relatively casually. I'll move the phone back a little so you can see. I'm not wearing a suit. I'm not wearing a tie, but I am wearing a dress shirt
Hmm.
made in India, and
All
nice
right.
side. And I'm wearing
It's a nice
my
shirt.
card, which I have as um, a badge, and I have a pen in
All
my pocket,
right.
red. And that's all for a reason, because blue is a color of trust. So wearing blue, people tend to trust what you say more than if you're wearing some other color. Red is a color that attracts attention. And so I also have a pen. I'm known for dressing a certain way. I'm wearing this striped shirt with a red pen, khaki pants, a leather belt, and I go to a lot of things. Now, if it's a little more formal, I'll wear a nice tie, probably red, might be floral, might be something else. I'll wear a jacket or a blazer. If it's an important event with a business person that wears a suit, I'll wear a suit. Another book I'd recommend, it's outdated by millennials' view, but I think it has a lot of great advice, is called Dress for Success by John Malloy. He was a
Hmm.
columnist in Chicago, and he wrote about fashion for men. The tips are still really good. If you're going for an interview, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. If you're doing an interview on Instagram Live with someone you've never met, do a little research. So I went to your website, I read up about you, I watched a little of your Instagram Live with someone else. I kind of had a feel for what you would feel comfortable with. So we're both in a long sleeve blue shirt, feeling relaxed, not stressed, but we both look professional. And so that's the image that we are projecting, relaxed but professional. And that's what I think millennials need to do. Dress for the part they want, not the part they have. An accessory is worthwhile, a nice watch, a nice belt. Shine your shoes. Women always look at shoes. Um, well-dressed man should always have a good pair of shoes. In the old days, it was a briefcase. But now, one of the things I've observed, the more important a man, the less he carries. So when I was a young lawyer, I carried the trial bags like a salesman's sample case. They were huge.
Uh,
I'd have to carry two of them, or I'd have to carry boxes. As I got more established, I had somebody else to carry them. I could walk in with a briefcase. CE even have to carry a briefcase anymore. I carry
mhm,
a portfolio, sometimes just a little notepad in my pocket to jot down some
mhm.
notes. Plus, I have an electronic notepad right in my hand. And right now, I'm actually holding it because my battery was going a little low, so I needed to plug into my portable power so my iPhone didn't die during the interview. So those are all
Very
just
interesting.
little things millennials can use, baby boomers can
Yeah,
use, anyone can use. Plan your life instead of letting
that's
your
the
life go.
key. That's
And
the
then
key. And
be spontaneous. That know when to be planned and organized, and know when. If I walk outside after this and I see that it's a beautiful day, I might go for a walk, or I might take a little video of the birds chirping and the sun shining in my yard. Take
mm,
time to enjoy life and enjoy what God has created and what he or she or they have brought to our world, and take time to smell the roses.
that's the purpose of life. You gotta enjoy. The purpose of life is to have fun and measure your success by how happy you are today.
And to help others. And that's another thing you asked earlier. One of my
Mm,
passions is to help others. So I want to make the world a better place than
Mm-hmm.
I'm born into, and I thought that I could best do that by bringing children along to the point that they could make a difference, be impact makers. And now that they're 27 and 25, I figure I still have another good 10, 20 years that I can make an impact. So I'm focusing my time and attention, not on making money, but on making my community better and giving my kids and family and friends whatever support they need. So that's why I do things like this, is to help other people, give back, pay it forward.
Awesome, awesome. And while we come towards the end of this talk, I have one last question which has really got me intrigued. Is
Sure.
that a photograph of yours with Richard Branson?
Ah, there's a short story. If you have a minute, I'll give you the short
Yes,
story.
yes, yes, yes. Sure.
Scheduled in Manhattan by a Russian business group, and it was scheduled for the Madison Square Garden, and it was a business forum, and there was a huge lineup of great speakers. And I set a goal, a plan,
Hmm.
to attend that event. I had just started my business back in 2017, and I wanted to develop it. And the topic of that forum was disruption. And
Hmm.
I am kind of disrupting the normal mindset with a creative strategy business. There aren't a lot of us out there. It's a relatively new type of business, an entrepreneurial business of providing strategy to others, because it's not, I don't exactly do coaching per se. I come in and
Hmm.
I assess the situation and I come up with how I can help a small business or nonprofit be more efficient, more effective, more profitable, more successful. And I help them with their plan. I'll either do what they need done, teach them or their staff to do what they need done, or find them the appropriate expert professional to do what they need, whether it's taxes, accounting,
Hmm.
social media, a website, whatever. So this business forum was called the Synergy. You'd like that word. Global. I think you'll like
Hmm.
that. Forum. Really powerful name. And disruption was the topic. So they had a line of speakers with Richard Branson, Guy Kawasaki, Malcolm Gladwell, a
Hmm.
number of other really expert
Wow.
speakers, founder of Wikimedia, and I set out with a goal to get a selfie with Richard Branson and a selfie with Paris Hilton, and
Hmm.
to have that selfie with them, one kissing me on one cheek and the other kissing me on the other.
That's
Now,
awesome.
that was my goal. I did not reach, but I left there with the photo you see of Richard Branson with his arm around me. And I have
Hmm.
a picture. I had to actually step away from Paris Hilton while she was performing as a DJ in a ballroom in Manhattan to take the selfie because I wanted her full view, wearing her little cat suit. I got both of those pictures. To sit in the front row or be the VIP section of that event cost $10,000. By the end of that event, I had the chairman of Synergy Global Forum personally escort me through security to the VIP reception with Richard Branson, where I got to meet Richard Branson, speak with him, and have a picture taken of him with me. And that picture to me is worth $10,000 in branding by association. I have others with Guy Kawasaki and Malcolm Gladwell, Gary Vaynerchuk. If you're not
Hmm.
familiar with him or your viewers aren't, check out Gary V on
I,
Instagram.
I, I'm familiar with him. Yes, tell
But
me about him.
and he basically, a tip that I will pass along from him is don't expect to be an overnight success. Work your ass
Hmm.
off in the language as long as you need to get ahead, and then you can make your money work harder for you. A lot of millennials, the mistake they make is they get out of college, they're really smart, they've been handed everything and have been very successful to the age of 22 or 23, and they expect that they're going to take on the world and they're going to be in the corner office in 2 years. It doesn't work that way. It may, but that's a very
Hmm.
small percentage. It takes putting your nose to the grindstone and working hard and staying out of trouble, not posting
Yeah.
stupid stuff on social media, and living a good, clean life that will get
Hmm.
you. And so the photo with Richard Branson, I told the guy that was the salesperson for that global forum, I just started my business. I've got $500 to invest in attending this. I said, all
Hmm.
I'm asking for that $500 is get me in the room. I don't care if it's the last seat in the arena, in the theater at Madison Square Garden, and get me a ticket to the VIP reception with Paris Hilton. That's all I asked for. And I said, in exchange, I will promote the heck out of this event in advance, during, and afterwards. When I got there, he was so happy with what I had done in promoting the event because it was a sellout event and it was spectacular. Um, he gave me the wristband for the VIP reception, which got me into
Oh,
pretty much everything except meeting Kimberly Guilfoyle and Richard Branson. But he introduced me to the chairman of the company, who gave me the personal escort past security, where there were people waiting in line that couldn't get in because they didn't have the
wow.
VIP credentials. And I didn't either for that, but he took me there. And that's about do unto others as you wish to have done unto yourself, the golden rule in Christianity. And also to take a chance. If you set a goal
Yeah,
for and you fail, you're going to end up down here. If you set a
yeah,
goal here and you fail, you may end up here, which is way
yeah.
ahead of what would have been or where you started. So I set my sights high, but that requires a bit of guts, because you have to be willing to fail somewhat, and you have to be willing to accept less than total success, and accept the fact that not achieving all of your dreams is still okay if you're achieving some of them, because you're going to be way ahead of where you would have been and way ahead of everybody else. And if you're
Mm.
happy with who you are and where you are, then falling short of a very lofty goal is not a bad thing at all.
Wow, that's a lovely way to conclude it, and I am absolutely, moved by your story here, and it definitely was very interesting, and I'm also definitely going to use that. In fact, I'm right now in the process of reading Richard Branson's book. That's what intrigued me. His book's called "Losing My Virginity." It's
Yep.
written by him, and
Yes.
I am through until I think the third or the fourth chapter, where he is still talking about the magazine that he started, about the music magazine when he was in college and how he was living. So, very interesting personality, and you have the privilege to have met him. I think that speaks a lot.
Yep. And I had to leave the night that I met him. I had to leave the reception for him, the event, because they were ending that event, to go have dinner with a multimillionaire. And I was a little bit late, and I texted him that I was late. And when I got there, he had dinner guests that were close personal friends, and I apologized. But I said I have a pretty good excuse, and I showed them the picture of Richard Branson with me, and they forgave me.
Yeah, that would work.
So
That
I
is,
greatly appreciate the opportunity, on God, to be on your Instagram Live. I would be happy to come back in the future if you're so inclined. And I would also be happy to come to see you in person to speak at an event if you have any interest in that in the future for one of your mentoring groups. And please stay in communication with me. I'm following you on Instagram. I will be checking in on your website and seeing how you're making out. And I look forward to reading your book when it's finished and published.
thank you. Thank you for your kind words, and thank you for the depth of knowledge and the strategies and the productivity hacks that you shared, and your awesome stories and your experience here, Edward. It was amazing having you, and thank you
Thank,
for accepting my invitation.
thank
And I hope you safe, and you take care of yourself. And I'm really looking forward to having you meet you in person, maybe in India, or definitely over one of my webinars. I will keep that in mind to invite you for a talk. The millennials would love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. And one last question I have for you is, will you be posting the full video on an IGTV so that I can share the video with people who are not able to tune in live?
Yes, I will be doing that immediately after this, and in a week's time, you will also see this edited and
Okay,
on YouTube. So we
awesome.
will share with you the links.
That would be great, because I will promote the heck out of that and encourage people to follow you and to stay
Uh,
tuned. Further writing.
awesome, awesome.
Namaste. Have a great day.
Namaste. Thank you. You too. Have a great day. Be safe.
All right.
Bye.